Hello, everyone, and welcome back for another episode of the Outdoor Adventure Series podcast, where we celebrate individuals and families, businesses, and organizations that seek out and promote the exploration, stewardship, conservation, access, and enjoyment of the outdoors. Visit El Paso is the sponsor of today's episode. El Paso is more than just a place on the map, it's where Texas begins. El Paso is a vibrant city with unforgettable sunsets and offers a unique blend of history, culture, and natural beauty. Hello, everyone. I am here in beautiful, sunny, warm El Paso, Texas, and I have the pleasure of interviewing right now Brooke Underwood. She is the executive director of Visit El Paso, and her team are one of the reasons why the Outdoor Writers Association of America is here in El Paso for our annual conference. So, Brooke, it's a pleasure to meet you.
And it's a pleasure to be on the podcast with you. I'm excited to share all the things El Paso and maybe a little bit about myself as well.
That is fantastic. Now, first thing I have to say, I come from Las Vegas, and everybody says it's a dry heat, and it is. I got here yesterday, and it's like, oh my God, it's hot here. How do you put up with all this beautiful hot weather and sunny skies, blue skies?
So it's always a fantastic hair day in El Paso. You might need more moisturizer for your skin, but us desert rats don't do well in humidity. Anytime we have to travel back east, our arms immediately start to float off our body, and we just don't acclimate very well. So there's a lot of beauty and versatility in things you can do in the desert. And I want to tell as many people far and wide that they should come and visit it, especially in this time of year. This is the best time of year to come see El Paso.
Fantastic. It's this time of the year in Las Vegas, too. It just cools down, beautiful 80s, and it cools down at the evening. You might even need a little bit of a sweater. Now, are you a native of El Paso, or did you come from some other city around the country?
So I do get this question a lot. I've got blonde hair and green eyes, and I don't look like your typical El Pasoan, but I am born and raised. So these are my people, and this is my hood.
Fantastic. Now, has El Paso changed over the years since this is your hood? You've been here for a number of years. Mind you look like you're in your 20s, but we're not going to share ages here. But how much has El Paso changed?
Oh my gosh, I think that El Paso's changed quite a bit. And I really feel that the catalyst was in 2006. I think El Paso was always the underdog. I think we dogged on ourselves, not to overuse the term too often. But at some point that changed, and there was a shift in our thought process, and we became the scrappy dog that said, we're just not going to take it lying down anymore. And so we started investing in ourselves and really took control of the narrative. And that's what we're doing today. And you can see both public and private investments in the community. But overall, the citizens are starting to come back, where we used to suffer from a lot of brain drain. Kids couldn't wait to get out of town. Now they're going to school, getting some experience, and then they're coming back and using that here. So to see the city come into its own in the last, I'd say it's about 10 to 15 years. It's really been a transformation. I'm proud of it.
I have a habit when I'm doing my podcast, I do a lot of series. We did Gulf Shores and Orange Beach for last year's association meeting for the OWAA. I was in Johnson City recently. I've done some other tours for the podcast. And one thing I always have a habit of doing is, like, I say, I could live there. I could live there. And as I was doing the interviews for this project, I kept saying the same thing. And it's just everybody that I chatter with for this series, and we'll talk a little bit about who they work. I mean, they are just wonderful brand ambassadors for El Paso. So I know I was excited to come here and visit, and I know my peers from the OWAA are as well. I got to ask, though, how did you get involved in the tourism industry? You've been with Visit El Paso for just a little while.
16 years to be exact. So just a few minutes or so. So locally, I grew up here, went to the university here, University of Texas at El Paso, go Miners. And I studied marketing. I really didn't know what I want to do. And honestly, at 44, I still feel like every once in a while, I'm not sure what I want to be when I grow up. But right out of college, I got a degree. I got a job with a local web development company. And I thought that was fascinating. And I knew nothing about web development, but I was good with people. And I liked learning about new things. And so I learned about the web development industry. And the Convention and Visitors Bureau at the time was the largest client of this particular firm. The account was in trouble. And so I was hired to spend 75 to 85% of my day focusing on this client. I'd write content for their website. I'd take photos if they needed it, but I was going to be an extension of their team. And I guess I might have done that too well because a few short years later, they recruited me over to become the director of convention development. So they always said, join our team, join our team. And I go, well, I kind of work for you now. I just do it for another company. And that wasn't good enough for them. They wanted me to be part of this organization. And that was 16 years ago. So I'm excited. And I really feel that there's not a better position for me in the city. I get to sell something I truly believe in. And locals are very proud of this community. So I'm not saying that our adoptees or the people that move here are military families that come through, that they can't take pride or help represent this destination well. But I do feel that I was cut out for this job, and I really enjoy it, and I hope to be here another 16 years.
I love it. I love it. Now, as I was doing my research for the initial episodes, I discovered, to use the word discover, there's actually three brands that are coming together. Tell us just a little bit about the three brands.
I liken it to a family. So Destination El Paso is the mama. She's, and then you've got Visit El Paso is the sister, and that's the sister I work with, and lead. And that team is made up of convention development, is where I got my start, tourism development and strategic alliances, servicing, and all the things that go with that, and then the film commission. And then the second sister is the venue and events management group. So we manage the facilities that the city of El Paso owns. So the El Paso Convention Center, which you were currently meeting in, the Abraham Chavez Theater just adjacent to the building, the Plaza Theater across the street, and then the beautiful McKelligan Canyon Amphitheater nestled in the mountains. And then, so that's the middle sister, and she's really the hardworking sister. Putting on these events and managing these venues is tough work. And then there's the youngest sister. She's the newest to the family. She's the El Paso Water Parks Division. She gets all the attention. Everyone wants to talk about these beautiful 4 water parks strategically placed around the city. So we manage all 3 of those. Very multifaceted. We're one of the only, well, we're the unicorn in our company. We're an ASM Global facility. And usually ASM Global manages convention centers and arenas and stadiums and theaters, but rarely the DMO. So this is a really unique portfolio, and I actually think it makes El Paso stronger and more appealing to planners and such.
And I love the way you've described everybody working together to make a greater El Paso and a greater experience for everybody. I was going to ask, you're right next to this beautiful ballpark. Are you affiliated with them as well?
Other than being a raging Chihuahuas fan, Chico the Chihuahua is one of my favorite mascots ever. But we don't have any direct affiliation other than being a great partner, downtown partner together.
We were in Mexico yesterday visiting the dunes, and I think the only thing that would have stopped me from going to Mexico and visiting the dunes if there had been a ball game, because there's something about grass field. I love that. Now, as far as Visit El Paso is concerned, I mean, you are the titular head of this organization. And I imagine you have a pretty eclectic team that helps you run it and pulls off events like they're helping to do today for the OWAA's conference.
Absolutely. I think the team is very mirrors what tertiary cities or tier 2 cities are. We're quite the scrappy and resourceful team. And so sometimes that means I'm doing employee evaluations in the morning. And then in the afternoon, I'm moving tables and helping decorate for a reception for a convention. So I think everyone's really willing to pull up their sleeves and get the job done, as long as it puts El Paso in a positive light and we can share that. But yes, it is quite diverse. The director of tourism identified OWAA as something she would love to have and host here. And then the convention development team worked with her to identify the RFP, work to solve those problems, answer those questions. And so it was a real collaborative effort. And then, of course, great partners at the airport and other downtown properties. That all came together to really form the team that you're seeing out in action just outside the window where we are here now.
I love that. And so when did the first idea from the director of tourism, when did that spark first take hold? And how long, obviously, has this event been in the planning stage? Because now you are executing on the plan as we speak.
True. So there's a completely different timeline as far as conventions are concerned, and so I'm gonna take you on a little bit of trip, a little bit of a trip, and I'll try to keep it short just for so we don't lose listeners. But back many many years ago, it was probably in 2016, we got the RFP for the Society of American Travel Writers, and we hosted that in 2019, and really, I think that was just absolute divine intervention because who was to see or guess that the world would come to a screeching halt in 2020? So the investment we made to bring the Society of American Travel Writers out in 19, just before we lost our advertising budget, and all of our staff really paid dividends throughout the pandemic. So while people were cooped up in their homes, dreaming about destinations to visit, both domestically and internationally, they were being fed fantastic stories by writers such as OWAA and many of the people that are in town today. And so we really, I mean, we couldn't have planned it better. And where there was no advertising dollars, these wonderful stories were painting the picture. When we're not stuck at home, you should visit towns like El Paso. And a relationship we built at the Society of American Travel Writers spurred the RFP for OWAA. And so Ches, with your organization, is a fantastic, very forward-thinking leader, saw the beauty in the desert and said, you guys have a wonderful outdoor, we're the only Texas city with a mountain, great weather. Would you consider? And before he finished the question, we said, when can we bid? When can we host? Don't even consider other destinations. We want to be it, and we'll do whatever it takes to get you here. And so that's really what put us in line to host OWAA. And I really do feel like this is, if you enjoy mountain biking, climbing, hiking, and there's varying degrees of all of those right here. And here we sit downtown, and in 10 to 12 minutes, you can be up in the Franklin Mountains enjoying any skill level of those things. There's bouldering just to the west of El Paso, and it's world-class bouldering. So there's this is Mecca for a lot of outdoor enthusiasts, and we want you all to help tell the story.
That's fantastic. And I know from Ches, and for our listeners, Ches Jessic, he is the executive director of the OWAA. And I know from my conversations with Ches over the years I have been a member, the RFP process is fairly sophisticated. We put out a questionnaire, and there is an expectation that you have to complete the questionnaire. It's not like, give us a call, we'd be happy to help out. So kudos to you for following the directions. That was great. I am curious now. So you have you've been on the conference, obviously successful. We are right in the midst of it today. How did you begin to enroll some of the partners for this event? Because for our listeners, we have 3 days of conferencing where we're learning, we're networking, but there are events before the conference starts, there are events after. And so there's a lot of partners involved with this. How do you begin to enroll them, and who is responsible for that on your team?
So that really starts with the Director of Tourism and Strategic Alliances, Veronica Castro, and she takes on the lion's share of the planning and the organization here. Of course, she's got fantastic support team, Nora Ochoa, which I know you're familiar with, Elizabeth Torres, Diana Thornton. I mean, if there's someone behind the curtain pulling some levers, it's Diana Thornton, and she heads up our servicing department. But so much more than that. But I also think, going back to something I mentioned earlier, those tier 2 cities, we have to be a little bit more resourceful and scrappy. These big major metros, especially in Texas, they can hire contractors to do this. And there's already canned experiences or commercial attractions that you could benefit from. And so we really need to think outside the box and capitalize on the resources we have available to us. And I also am very strong in this. We are stronger as a region than we are as just the state of Texas. I mean, if you consider our proximity to other major population clusters or any other major metro, we're quite the distance. But when you consider great neighbors in southern New Mexico, and then of course in northern Mexico with the state of Chihuahua, we said this is a group that's coming in. Would you like to participate? And there was no convincing them about the impact that this group brings and why this is a good investment for us. They immediately signed on. And so there's more telling people we just don't have enough time to accomplish all the things. We've really got to prioritize what would be in the best interest of OWAA, and then what they really need to see as far as our community is concerned. But Our partners in Las Cruces, sometimes they bring us RFPs and they go, we're not quite big enough to bid on this, but could we do something in conjunction with you all? And that type of partnership is exactly what it's about, showing people that there is beauty in the desert and that this region is frequently overlooked, but you can get more bang for your buck and get in a fantastic experience. And maybe gives people some Instagram envy with the photos that you post and the experiences that you get to have while you're here.
I love that. And for our listeners, our first night, which was the day we arrived, so I got up at 4 o'clock, flew from Las Vegas, very easy flight. Thank you there. Southwest, give them a little plug. We got here, we had a nice lunch down by the hotel, the Barrio, we'll plug them as well. And then we headed to Chihuahua across the border, and what an experience that was. And I am actually hoping to interview the folks from Visit Chihuahua afterwards, because what a fantastic experience, the desert, the dunes, the sunset and the meditation. So really, and I'm really impressed that even though it's that international border, you are able to partner with them, much like you just described partnering with Las Cruces. I'm very excited to go to Las Cruces as well. I've heard a lot of great things about it. Now, during the interview process, and again, for our listeners, I recorded 8 interviews already for Visit El Paso. So really thank you to your director of tourism. Thank you to you for supporting this. I work with Renee and Emmy and Nora. We had some great interviews here. We did the Frontera Land Alliance with Janae and Rocio, Franklin Mountain with Cesar Mendez.
Yeah.
He's here, great guy.
Great.
And also we met Nicole Roque from Hueco Tanks, and I think I'm going to be going out there on Monday. We did the Borderland Mountain Bike Association with Rodney Dubois, Rent a UTV with Jamil Mutron. I'm going to be doing the UTVs on Monday as well. We had the El Paso Marathon with Mike Coulter, again, Hueco Tank State Park, an historic site. Real Bosque, the Wetlands Park with John Sproul, and also El Paso Trans-Pecos Audubon with Scott Cutler. And so as a photographer, a birder, I'm excited about the birding Hueco Tanks on Monday. Great people. And as far as, activities, bringing them into the mix, and what was it like kind of reaching out to them and telling them about this event and would you guys like to participate in this?
So it's not even the one time we call them. I mean, we are constant communication with all of the people that you mentioned. And really, there's not a better welcome wagon crew than those names that you mentioned there. So it comes as no surprise that you had a fantastic conversation with all of them who are very passionate about each of their individual areas of responsibility. But again, that's not a hard ask. We identify someone and say, gosh, there's a great opportunity. They go, when can we meet? How can we help? And I really feel, and personally, I feel that that's what I want to be known by. I want the first words that come out of my mouth to be, how can I help? And every single one of those people answered the call the same way. So it's easy to sell something you're super passionate and love. And again, a variety of people. You went for everything from the wetlands to the rent ATVs and the dunes on this side of the border and their red sands. So they're fantastic, but all great partners willing to chip in. And some of them are like, I'll handle it. I'll do it for free. And we go, no. We want partners like you to stay in business. So please let us help invest in your organization too. You make our destination stronger by offering the services that you do. So again, I think you've got a fantastic lineup there, and I'm excited maybe to add one more before you head out of town.
That is fantastic. I hope we do it. By the way, there's certain aspects of my travels. It's always a good restaurant, a good coffee shop, and hopefully we're going to get a coffee shop in the next year because Howard needs his coffee. I am curious now. You're a longtime El Paso resident, born and raised here. When you and your family go out and just want to get away from the office and enjoy El Paso, what is your go-to?
So I actually live very close to the mountains, so I don't have to go too far to bring my pack of dogs. I've got 4, ranging from 2 bulldogs, a pit bull, and a Labrador, and we head up the mountain as well. So we are avid outdoor people. And enjoy that. But if someone came into town and said, what do we have to see? I actually bring them downtown quite a bit because I think El Paso is colorful and vibrant, and there's a lot of exploration that you can do just in the heart of downtown El Paso. Now, if anyone knows me, you got to trust a girl with a muffin top. I know where all the good places to eat are. And so some restaurants are my go-to, like L&J Cafe, which is the old place by the graveyard. I don't know if you've had a chance to visit that. That's a must-see before you leave town because those red cheese enchiladas are my jam. But lots of diversity. Taco Neta is just a short Uber ride away from the downtown core and offers some fantastic and diverse tacos, not the typical tacos that you'd expect to see. There's a fantastic steakhouse that's just on the outside of the city limits in Fabens called Cattleman's. It was voted one of the top 10 steakhouses by Men's Health of all publications to give a steakhouse an award. But that's fantastic. The cowboy or the cowgirl cut comes with all the fixings, family style. We host an annual bowl game. It's the second oldest bowl game in the country, and it's the Sun Bowl. And we take the teams out there, and boy, those players have quite the appetite, and they are very very much fulfilled and placated after leaving the Cattleman's Steakhouse. So some great places to go and visit. But again, I think that El Paso capitalizing on the natural beauty, our outdoors, and fantastic weather. I mean, we're still golfing in shorts in November, and you just can't. And I mean, I know I'm preaching to the choir because Las Vegas is very much like El Paso. We get a little bit of all 4 seasons, so we'll get a little bit of dusting of snow, just enough for the city to go out and make a snowman on the top of our car, because the snow never sticks on the ground. So you've got to capitalize on the snow that collects on something not so warm like the ground. But spring is beautiful here, but October is really my favorite month of the year here in El Paso.
I love it. I think we can probably say that about Las Vegas as well. You know, another theme that was very consistent when doing the interviews was so many El Paso residents, longtime residents, they're in their neighborhoods and sometimes they don't really get out. And so in chatting with my culture from El Paso Marathon, just the ability to go out there as a runner, because a lot of people run, there's no limitation by nationality or background, gender, etc. You get to see the neighborhoods, the Franklin Mountain State Park, which is like the only state park that literally cuts through a major city. Then you've got the Wetlands Park, you've got Waco Tanks, and there's just so many opportunities for the local residents to get out of their neighborhood. And I think events like the marathon, the activities of Visit El Paso, is just a way for people to get out of their neighborhoods, perhaps their safe space, and go out and explore. And it's right here. And by the way, I think I've said this perhaps already on this recording, but I know I've said it before we hit record. I'm always looking for my next place to live. And as I was doing my interviews, I was thinking, I could live there. I could live there consistently. And so you just never know. Now, before we head out, I want to put you on the spot. I know I told you that this is like having an adult beverage with a friend you haven't seen in 15 years, no surprises. What is your pitch for someone who knows where Texas is? They know the big cities, but they don't know El Paso. What's your pitch to them to come visit El Paso and enjoy everything that it has to offer?
So El Paso, we like to say not all Texas is big hair and yeehaw. And every part of Texas is very diverse, from the Gulf Shores to the plains to obviously West Texas. It is really where the state begins. And everyone reads left to right. So I think it's safe to say that everything else after El Paso is an afterthought. And I say this to my colleagues around the state all the time. But I think that you've got diversity in the state. And so you can travel just within the borders and experience a number of different cultures and food and all sorts of festivals, you name it. But I really feel that El Paso has has capitalized on their trademark hospitality. You know, and we could conduct this experiment if you're up for it. But I want you to go to a corner anywhere downtown El Paso or in a neighborhood, and I want you to look just a little lost, just a little, wander a little bit. And I want you to count how many people come up and go, "Where are you headed? How can I help you? You look hungry. Let me feed you." And it's just a hospitable community. And that's not something we've ever had to train or instill in our people. It's just the culture out here. And that's the culture in our partner cities like Las Cruces and Juarez and Chihuahua City, or the state of Chihuahua. I think it's just something that sets us apart from other destinations. And I'll tell you, we talked about traveling to other places. I didn't realize that holding doors for people or saying God bless you is something that's long since gone in some other destinations. And that's just not the people here. It's one of the biggest small towns you'll ever meet. You got to be careful who you cut off on the highway, because you're probably going to enter the same parking garage with them just a short time later. But very, very tight-knit community, very welcoming. And I think that that's what makes me most proud about this destination and why I never had the itch to leave. I had the opportunity to go away to school. And I just think that if I was going to live anywhere, I want to live with the people that take pride in their community, and they work hard for what they earn. And nothing's really handed out or given to the people of El Paso. They've got to be scrappy. They've got to get their seat at the table, and we're doing it every day.
That is a fantastic response and way to give a great shout out to the citizens of El Paso. And again, I think you guys are doing a great job, and we've only just started. So I'm really excited to, for everything else that's going to be involved in this event. And I think the OWAA made a great decision to pay a visit here. And I know you're going to actually get a lot of content for years. That's the one thing about this event is these writers, photographers, podcasters like myself. I mean, what we create lives on, and you're going to see the dividends of that. Brooke, before we head out, if our listeners would like to learn more about you and your work and visit El Paso, where are the best places you'd like for us to send them?
So Visit El Paso, I think, has a fantastic Instagram page. And so I would really tell you to check out our Instagram page for those easy, digestible, small pieces of content. But our website just recently won an award. It was the best website for our budget category given by the Texas Association of Convention and Visitors Bureaus. And so we're very proud of that. We just redesigned it in the last 6 months or so. So I feel like the technology is there, beautiful aesthetic, but very user-friendly. We also, if I might also give one more plug to this team, we also won DMO of the Year, Destination Marketing Organization of the Year, and in the largest budget category. So we were competing with some of the major metros and beat them out for best DMO. So I'm quite proud of the team that was able to accomplish that. I'm, of course, on all the social media outlets. I think LinkedIn is a great place to connect and ask for more information. But our photos and our contact info is all over our website. So if someone wanted to reach out, I'm happy to give them my 30-second elevator speech. I'd like to talk to you about relocation efforts and how we're going to get you to move to the sunnier Southwest and get you out of Las Vegas. But I think there's a lot to learn, and I'd love people to give El Paso a second look. I think it's easy to discount border communities. I think that happens a lot. It especially happens over election cycles every 4 years. We seem to be the doormat where people wipe their feet. And so I'd love your listeners to give El Paso a true second look and learn more about this community, because it is absolutely rad. We'd love to have them visit. Even more, we'd love to have them relocate.
That is fantastic. Well, you guys are definitely on my list, and I hope we can add to that through our listeners. Brooke, thank you so much for spending time today and for this interview. I know it was impromptu, but I can't come to a destination and not try to get an interview with the leader in charge. And really want to thank not only yourself, your wonderful team, again, Renee, Emmy, Nora. I mean, just wonderful. And I really appreciate Nora liking my my episodes on my Facebook page, Outdoor Adventure Series. And just when I see those shared out onto your pages as well, that makes my heart sing. So I really appreciate the time. And again, you guys are doing a great job, and thank you so much.
I appreciate the time, and we're looking forward to dispelling a new batch of ambassadors for the community. So thank you for allowing me to share a little bit with you. This has been great.
It was our pleasure. We are going to end our time today. Appreciate Brooke having really just being gracious and grateful. And we are grateful that she was able to pull herself away. I know she's got a busy schedule, and we look forward to sharing this recap episode hopefully with a couple others after we get back from the conference. So until next time, go out there, have a fantastic day, and we look forward to having you on a future episode of the Outdoor Adventure Series podcast. Take care now.